Hey everyone, welcome to the final video of this practice. So in this one, actually I want to talk about, APIs and kind of open your eyes into the potentials of the Python's object-oriented programming, and also, generally why we do object-oriented programming and how powerful this thing is. So far, based on the, quiz that we've created, obviously, I'm sure you've gone through the questions a couple of times, and you can see that it gets a little bit boring, and at some point you just know the answers to every single question, and it's really not like it's not interesting anymore, right? So what if there was a way for you to switch the question data, the data that we have here easily? Because the whole point of the object-oriented programming is that it makes your program modular. So, if you want to switch out the questions, it's going to be pretty simple, right? So you can simply just go here and change the questions and change the answers and all that stuff. It's really not a big deal, right? But we can actually take it one step further. In the resources section of the course, there is a link that is going to take you to Open Trivia Database, or opentdb.com, and this is basically a trivia database where you can access thousands of different questions, different questions. And what's really beautiful about this is that there's an API section up here where you can actually access all these questions using an API. So, you can generate an API, you can get a number of questions, and then you can get categories if you want, difficulty, type, and all that stuff. For example, for the type, we're going to say true, false, because that's our, style, the style of our, our program. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to click generate API, and it's going to generate this, URL. Now, if I actually take this, copy this URL, and if I actually go here and open it, you will see a code like this. Now, this is a JSON script. Essentially, it's a JavaScript. And what's really interesting about this is that it is kind of formatted like a dictionary for Python. So we can actually use this. So we can copy this, all right? So I'm just going to copy this real quick. And we're going to go back to the PyCharm. And we're going to just get rid of this entirely, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this like this. Now, it's going to be pretty long and weird, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to code here and click reformat, and it's going to give it to us like this. And one of the things you want to do is you want to also get rid of this area right here, response code and results. And at the end, when you do this, let's get rid of this as well. So let's just push this to the end. And just like that, at the end, what we're going to end up with, okay, is another series of questions. As you see, we got a list and we got a dictionaries inside this list. And if you take a look, let me just actually see if I can reformat it again. Reformat code, and let's actually make sure auto indented. All right, so one of the things that you're going to see in this code is that it has a type of a few different values. So we got the category, we got the type, and then we got the difficulty, we got the question, which is what we're looking for, and also we got the correct answer. So basically what we can do is we can easily go back to our main Py and replace these values. All right, I'm just going to say correct answer. So we're going to replace it with the answer here. And we're going to say we could replace the question with the question here. So again, because obviously we're reading it from this data file, right? So just like that, we have our question, and we have a bunch of new questions. Obviously, this is not formatted correctly because we just copied it straight up from here. But that's the idea. You see, we just got a bunch of new questions, and we can easily see if we got it right or wrong. And simply just like that, we just changed all of our questions in literally a few seconds. So that's the beauty of the, Python's object-oriented programming, and it's really the modularity at its finest. As you see, we can literally change these questions, and it's really easy to do so by just using an API and pulling some data from the API. Now, so far, one of the things that we did right now is that we kind of did it manually, right? We actually went to the API website and we just pulled a bunch of questions, and we just did it right here and just copied all that. Obviously, that's not very ideal. one of the things I will talk about in the future is actually using API directly, because it would be much easier, right, if we had a code inside our data file, data.py, where we would just pull directly from this URL. So each time that we would like run this, because this API actually changes. So if you refresh it, I see the questions are going to change, right? So and again, if I refresh it again, we're going to get more questions, just like that. So it's really cool. We can get like unlimited amount of questions using this API. And one of the things that we will talk about, it's not going to be you know, in the current section, because it's just like not the scope of what we're talking about. But in future, we're going to talk about a way that we can just pull data directly from this API and display it, so that way we get unlimited amount of questions. But like, that's the idea with the modularity of the object-oriented programming. We can do so many powerful things, and we barely changed anything. We just like, you know, made it standard by changing these two values. We just made it standard with the data that we received here, so that way, you know, moving forward, any data we just copy paste here, it's going to work easily with this main py. And just like that, you know, we didn't change the quiz brain, we didn't change our classes, we didn't change like the question model, we didn't change anything. All we did was just like made a few adjustments here, which are just going to need to be done once, and just we pulled the data from the data.py, and just like that, we have unlimited amount of questions. So that's like really the beauty of object-oriented programming, and something again we'll talk about later on, especially when you get to the APIs and stuff like that. And again, just keep the project files, so we like when we get there, you're gonna see it in action. But again, you can access the trivia database. There's a link in the resources section, and also there is a link in the resources section where you can download the final code of this project. You know, all the like final code that we have here. It's ready for you to download if you want to take a look at it. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. If not, I'll see you in the next videos and next lessons.